here, we'll go to my next guy, and that's going to be Josh Downs. Josh Downs, I know there's a lot of hype when it comes to Adonai Mitchell, and rightfully so. I think he's going to be a good player for this football team, but Josh Downs, for what it's worth, I mean, like he looked like Anthony Richardson's favorite target out there when he was healthy. I watched those games because most people wanted Anthony Richardson was exciting. Obviously, when he went down, I can't say that I watched a ton more of the Colts offense, and Michael Pittman seemed to get better. And Downs not as much, but Downs was in that 90 to 100 targets last year. He had 98, right? As a rookie, 98 targets is not something to be overlooked. And he only had 2 touchdowns, right? So you hope that there's positive regression there. And he gets more to that 5 touchdowns, but he had, his air yards and his receiving yards, were pretty good for a rookie. 68 receptions. He played in all 17 games. And I just don't really understand the price for him. And he's going behind Adonai Mitchell. And, I don't know. We're in this, we're still kind of in that like rookie fever. And I said Adonai Mitchell's an exciting player, but I really wouldn't shock me if Josh Downs ended up being Richardson's favorite receiver over Pittman as well. Like they just seem to have a connection early last season. They're both rookies coming in, and I do think that matters. 2 rookies coming in, quarterback, wide receiver, in building that connection. So yeah, I'm grabbing Josh Downs at his cost, and it's really not expensive. I'm trying to pull up his ADP. I thought I had it somewhere here in my notes, but I don't know, Anthony. What are your thoughts on Downs? I mean, do you have any exposure to him? Is he someone you're drafting, or are you kind of avoiding him at his cost?
Listen, I have some Josh Downs. Adonai Mitchell doesn't really worry me because I don't think they're going to be in the same role. I think Adonai Mitchell is going to be in that in that Pierce role, maybe that big play receiver. I think Downs, his role in this offense is fairly set. I just don't know because Adonai Mitchell came in with some pretty good hype. So can he be more involved in this offense? Downs draws comps to Wan'Dale Robinson with his skill set. I think he was a 3rd amongst wide receivers last year in slot snaps. So we know that's where he's going to be in this offense. His ADP right now is 132. And I'm using underdog for this one. He's free. A guy at 132 who had 98 targets, very much reliable. And that was an offense run by Gardner Minshew most of the year. We have to assume that Anthony Richardson is going to be a superior passer at some point. He's going to be a better passer than Gardner Minshew. At worst, he makes plays with his legs. They ad lib and Josh Downs gets open. Like I'm going to buy into Josh Downs. I just don't have a ton of them. Sure. Usually players around his ADP, I'm drafting them more. Guys probably like Brandon Cooks, who's I think he has a little bit of a higher ceiling if this Dallas offense does what I think it's going to do. And he's obviously going into his 2nd year in this offense. Like last year, it took Cooks a little bit to get going, where, in year 2, they didn't really bring in any competition for targets. Like this could be a big year for Brandon Cooks on the other side of CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
So Downs is a better, I would call him a stability piece to where if your roster build, you have a lot of high ceiling guys, and then you're in the back of this draft, like, well, what am I going to do if somebody gets hurt? What am I doing a bye week? And you want a guy who's going to get you like 10 PPR points, Josh Downs your guy. If you're a point in this draft, you have a lot of solid guys. Let's say you opened up an Amon-Ra St. Brown, high floor, not a lot of ceiling, and you want to take some dart throws at big ceiling receivers. This is the point of draft where you'll take them. So roster build should dictate whether you draft a guy like Josh Downs or a guy like Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm using FFPC ADP, and he happens to be even lower on this. He's going at wide receiver. He's going at current ADP as 161, which is really low. And I'll give you some guys that are just going around him. Jerry Jeudy, Tyler Algier, Antonio Gibson. Now these are running backs too, but I'm just giving you a flavor. Wicks, Darnell Mooney. I could see the case, but I think Downs.
That's why I don't have a lot of Downs, because I have all the money.
I think if I was making the bet today, Downs catches more passes, but Darnell Mooney can stretch the field, and he probably has more yards. It wouldn't shock me. Jahan Dotson, give me Mooney over Dotson. Adam Thielen, Gabe Davis,
Yep.
Xavier Legette, Demario Douglas, Quentin Johnston. Like, these are the guys, like, and we're talking about a guy that had 98 targets last year. Joe Carlton comes in here and says, Josh Palmer's in that range too. Yeah, I honestly, like, and I'm a big Josh Palmer fan too. So I'm getting exposure of both of those guys pretty much at that range, and a little bit of Darnell Mooney and a little bit of Jermaine Burton as well. So Jamie says he's got Downs in his top 40 when it comes to wide receivers. A little high, but honestly, wouldn't shock me if he finished in the top 40 as well. And that's probably kind of to Anthony's point. You're getting guys at this point where they're going to get the targets and you use them for a bye week. And guess what? If Michael Pittman goes down or Adonai goes down, right? Like, I mean, they don't even have a stable tight end. Mo Alley Cox, we're waiting for the Jelani Woods breakout. Is it going to happen? I don't know, right? Jonathan Taylor doesn't catch balls out of the backfield. So, there are targets to go around, right? And Richardson runs the ball.
Kind of mid.
It is. That's what I'm saying.
Jelani Woods. Everyone's talking about Jelani Woods. The guy hasn't done shit.
Yeah, that's
there's Mo Alley Cox.
Yeah, Mo Alley Cox will catch 5 touchdowns this year on like 15 passes.
Yeah.
All right, let's move around.